Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of our campus placement interview series. Today we have Arnav Verma here with us. He received an offer from Deloitte USI in 2020. Let's know more about how he converted this company. Hi Arnav, how are you?
Hi, Shubham. I'm good. Thanks for having me here. This is a really good initiative to tell everyone about the process and really lower down the nerves that are so high right now in the juniors. So, yeah.
So it's good
Yep.
to have you here, Arnav. I'll just explain how this is going to go. All right, to begin with, I'll ask questions about you and your profile, and then we'll deep dive into the placement process.
Okay.
So the first thing that I want to know is what was your GPA till fourth semester in college?
So, till the fourth semester, my GPA was 7.4.
Oh, all right. That's pretty good, I believe. Did you have any PORs at that time?
Yeah, so I was part of the Commerce Association, and in the first year, I was the junior coordinator, and in the second year, I was the external relations head. So, I had those two position of responsibilities.
Oh. And did you have any internships on your CV at the time?
So while the process was happening, I was in an internship. Like I was a part of a company interning for them, but the placement cell advised me not to put that on my CV at that point of time. However, during my interview, they did ask me about it, and I explained to them. So I was with Jubilant Life Sciences, and I was working with the HR there. So that was my internship.
So this is a question that I ask everyone. Did you always aim for Deloitte or did you have your eyes set on another company?
So initially, just like everyone else, I assume I did not have any aim as such. But when the orientation process is started, and I went through the different companies' orientation, then it was pretty clear to me that there was one company that stood out in the orientation process, and I really my heart was cut out to it, and I really wanted to get in there, and that was Deloitte itself.
Perfect. Did you have any courses under your belt, any certificates?
So during I believe it was the initial phase of the lockdown period. So I had done an Excel course and a valuation course, but they weren't too big. It was just some things to know the basic of everything.
All right. Coming to the recruitment process for Deloitte, can you explain what were the rounds that were there?
Okay, so initially it was the aptitude test which took place, and after the filtration from that, then we had the group discussion round, followed by the personal interview.
All right. So first round was the aptitude test. How many sections were there?
So I believe there were four sections: quant, verbal, uh, LRDR, and there was a bit of accounting, which was a part of it towards the end.
What was the duration of the exam?
See, I'm not well versed with the specific numbers, but I believe it was somewhere close to an hour and 45 minutes an hour, and it had a plethora of questions from all those topics in it.
All right. So were all the questions multiple choice questions?
Yes, I believe all the questions were multiple choice questions.
Or was there any negative marking?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the types of questions that were asked. If you remember any specific question.
So for verbal, it was pretty basic. It was the fill in the blank questions, what you expect from a verbal questionnaire. There wasn't like they tried to cover all the topics, like your grammar was tested, your preposition skills were tested, your sentence construction skills were tested. So that was there. In quant, it was basic arithmetic, interest questions, and of the similar kind, where there's time and work, all the topics that you have previously learned in the previous classes, they were all tested in one go. And LRDR had the sequence questions about you have to complete the sequences, etc., of that sort.
So were calculators allowed?
No, no.
Arnav, is there a scope for cheating during the aptitude test?
Absolutely not. And I strongly recommend to anyone going for the aptitude test that do not even have it at the back of your head that cheating is an option, because it's your aptitude test and you cannot cheat an aptitude test. It basically tells you if you're fit for that thing or not. So just take that out of your head initially only, that no cheating.
Absolutely. All right. Another thing is that how do you prep for your aptitude test?
So I really didn't prep a lot for it because at that time, I think I had math as a subject, so I was okay in math. Like we were still doing math in college, and it was okay. And with the accounting principles, etc., that you have to go through once because you tend to forget things that you learned back in school, 11th and 12th, and things that you learned from college get go. So you have to, I'd suggest, just go through the basic terms, just know what is happening in accounts. Like you should be well versed with what's happening. They don't expect you to do solve a 10 marker question, but you should know what you're talking about.
Any resources that you used?
Just I had personally I had the books from college and school, so I just went through the at the backside of the books there are all these terms, so you can go through that, and that does help.
Fair enough. Do you remember how many people were shortlisted after the aptitude test round?
I don't. I was too nervous during the entire process, so I just didn't look at it.
All right. The next round being the GD round. How was your experience in the GD round, and how many people were there in your panel?
So in my panel, I believe there were 6 people, if I'm not mistaken. And my GD process, it was a bit nerve-wracking to be very honest, because I knew from the get-go the GDs were one of my weaknesses, and I was really scared about it because I didn't know how to go forward with it. So I took some guidance from my seniors, and they told me that you have to, even though you have to put your ideas forward and the tell the panelists and the people judging you how you feel and how you put forward your ideas, but you also have to remember that you are being tested of how you work with other people. And just because you act overbearing, it could be a negative side towards your entire persona, which they would judge. So in the GD, I went third or fourth after, because in every group discussion there are 2 people who are they're very excited to go first or second, and there's no point butting in because you are going to get your chance. And even if you don't, even if you miss the train about hopping in, because you get a split second in which you say, okay, I would like to go next. If you miss it, they will come back to you. The people, the judging you, they will come back to you and they will say, okay, we'd like to hear your point of view, but don't let it come to that stage and try to speak either at second, third, or fourth, one of those things. Don't go either first or last, because that's when the pressure is really truly there.
Yeah, there's this myth that if you start your GD or you conclude your GD, then that's going to be a huge advantage as well. But that's only if you are able to convert that opportunity, if you're able to lay out specific content that actually is applicable to the topic. Coming to your GD, do you remember what was the topic that was given to you?
It was somewhere on the lines of Fitness India movement, the Fit India movement, and how we could inculcate it in different aspects, whether schools, corporates, and how we could inculcate it. This was the basic premise of the question.
How much time was given to you for jotting down your points?
So they gave us 3 to 5 minutes to give us time, but since I went third, it also gave me some additional time to really think about my points and construct them.
All right. Can you share any advice or any tip that might help out people who are watching this video for the GD process?
Yeah. So first tip is, when you get those 3 to 5 minutes, think of as many ideas as possible, because the risk about going third or fourth is that a lot of the options that were in your head could be done by the other people. So instead of panicking, then always have a list of other points that you have ready. Have like 6 or 7 points. You just have to talk about 2 of them properly. That'll be enough. But do not repeat a point, and do not try to bring any other person's point down. So in my interview, even though I didn't agree with one of the points someone else put forward, you should say it in a very cordial way that, okay, since you spoke this point, however, I believe that this would not be possible in this term. Because it's not a debate. You cannot attack other person's point. That's just a negative thing on you again. So just these 2 things, and be confident when you talk. Even if midway through your thing, that you're blabbering, do not act nervous, because that's just going to put you down.
After clearing the group discussion round, we'll move on to the personal interview. So how many interviews were there?
There was just one personal interview, and with 2 people. I had 2 people in my panel who were interviewing me.
So both of them were the HR, or was one the manager and the other was the HR?
I believe one person was from the HR and other was an operations head of from Hyderabad. And those 2, I think I lucked out very very heavily during my interview process, because I think those two were the nicest people you could have on the interview, and they just helped you feel comfortable. So I think my journey in the interview process is going to be a bit different from what you might go through. So just a heads up for that.
How did you prep for your personal interview round?
Okay, so I was very nervous throughout the thing, and I wasn't able to prep too much because I believe that if I prep too much, I'm going to put myself under too much pressure. However, it's important to prep, and I did prep the main questions that they do ask, and yeah, that was my basic preparation for it.
Can you share some examples, the types of questions that were asked?
Okay, so first and foremost, you have to be very thorough with your CV, very thorough with every single point in your CV, and you have to be thorough in the sense that you should be ready for a cross question about your CV. Why this and why not this? And you have to have an answer for that. Second, the introduction about yourself. Tell us about yourself. That is you. So you have to be very calm, composed, and also very concise in what you're telling them. Because even though it's an introduction of yourself, it's not a paragraph. It's just a brief introduction of yourself that has to include everything. So be confident during that entire process. Second thing is research on the company and the profile that you're going through. That's extremely important because they do bring it up.
All right. Was there a time when they, or a question that they asked you and you didn't know the answer to? What did you do then?
Um, it was around 50-50 because I did research about the question they asked, but at that point I was just blank. So I did speak a little bit. I didn't tell them that I'm sorry, I'm not well versed with this. I told them whatever I knew, explained it a little bit, and I left it at that. I didn't blabber too much about things that I didn't know of. But I believe in situations like that, if you really truly don't know it, there's a very polite way of saying that, okay, maybe I'm not really well versed with that question, and after that I can prepare this great question or something like that. But I'm not too sure about the process of that.
Were you asked technical questions related to audit?
No, I wasn't asked any technical question related to audit. However, I was asked why audit and what do you think audit is.
All right, perfect. Anything you'd like to say to our juniors? Anything at all that would help them?
So, what I've noticed recently is a lot of juniors are very nervous. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't nervous because it's for the first time you're stepping in the big boy leagues. So try to keep the nervousness down because when you're getting so nervous, it's going to reflect sometime in your GD, your interview, or of that sort because you're building up the pressure in your mind and it is going to show to people. So even though you're nervous, try to be more composed towards it that, okay, this is a job. I have to give my best shot. Just be well versed. Your nervousness levels tend to go down when you're well prepared for whatever you're doing. So that's just my one main tip to you guys. Otherwise, I know a lot of you would be able to back like a good offer from one company or the other, and best of luck to you guys for that.